Hello and welcome back to our videos. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use WhatsApp sequences to send abandoned cart notifications for our e-commerce stores. For this example, I have already created my WhatsApp templates. As you can see on my WhatsApp manager, I have created 5 abandoned cart templates here, and let's check each of the templates one by one. So this will become the first message, and as you can see, I have created variables here. So the first variable would be for the first name of our customer, and this is for our store name for the variable 2. And for the variable 3, it will become the purchase items, as you can see here, 2 pieces chocolate cake. And for the amount, that is for the variable 4, that's 20 USD. For the variable 5, it is the cart URL. Once the customer clicks this URL, they will be redirected to their checkout page where they left their items. And for the variable 6 and 7, that would be for the email and the phone number of our store so that they can contact us directly. So it's really up to you how you create your abandoned cart message. And once you want your abandoned cart message to have variables, simply click the add variable on your WhatsApp template to add these variables. And later, we are going to configure this on our e-commerce store notification. So our first message would be, did you forget something? Hi John, we are from Mac Store. We saw that you attempted to purchase the following, blah, blah, blah. When submitting your template for review, it's highly advisable to add a sample so that it would get approved easier. So that's for my first message. The second message would be this one. Hi John, we are from Mac Store. Earlier, we sent a message about your attempted purchase. We are resending this in case you did not receive it. So this is just a follow-up message, and this is how I created the template. Same as the first message, I have added variables here. Okay, I have added 7 variables in total. So let's inspect the third message. For the third message, this is my header. We reserved your items for you. And same is true, I have added the variables. So these variables are native in WhatsApp template. When you create a template, always use native variables from WhatsApp so that it gets approved easier. Do not include any other variables beside the native variable that is supported by WhatsApp. So this is my fourth message. I am giving 20% discount, and I'm also including a coupon code for this message. And for my last message, I am telling them that the coupon code would expire soon, and we are going to give the reserved items to other customers. So this will become the last message of our sequence. Once you get all of your WhatsApp templates approved, you can then use it for your abandoned cart WhatsApp notifications in your e-commerce store. So here I have 5 messages all approved. Now let's learn how to use these templates for our WhatsApp sequences. First, let's go back to our MMIO dashboard and go to WhatsApp. We're going to create a flow. Okay, after that, let's create a new flow. The name of our flow would be Abandoned Cart Recovery Flow Demo 2. Click OK. And then we are going to add all of the templates. Right click, add a template. And then this is our first template. So let's configure this and use Abandoned Cart Recovery Message 1. Click Use Template. Now, as you can see here, we need to configure all of the variables here. So where do we get the variables needed for this configuration? Well, we can get these variables from e-commerce shop notifications. So let's open a new tab. And then let's go to shop notifications. Go to e-commerce and then shop notifications. And then click add new notification. This will open up our new notification dashboard where we can get the message variables. So these are the variables that we need to add to our flow template configuration. So let's go back to our flow. And for the variable number 1, this is the first name of our customer. So hi, variable number 1. So this is it. So let's go back to our create notification dashboard. If we go back to our message variables, you would be able to see that we have a customer first name message variable here. Click on that and the variable will be copied on our clipboard. So once that's copied, go back to our flow and paste the first name variable. Now for the variable number 2, we are from, that is our e-commerce store. So we also have a variable for that. So go to your message variables and click store name and then paste the store name on the variable number 2. For the variable number 3, these are the items that our customer attempted to purchase. So go back to message variables and you would be able to see that we have order items variable here. So copy that as well and paste it on your flow. Next, for the variable number 4, this is the total amount of the purchase. So go back to message variables and you'd be able to find the order amount here. So click on that and go back to our flow and paste the order amount. For the 5th variable, this is the cart URL. So go back to our message variables and you'd be able to see that we have a cart URL variable here. So copy that and paste here on variable number 5. For the variable number 6, this is our store email. And for the variable 7, this is our store phone number. So let's copy the store email here and paste it on variable number 6 and copy the store phone number or store mobile and paste it on variable number 7 and then confirm the template configuration. Okay, so that's how we configure our first template. Now let's configure our second template. We are going to copy this, clone, and then we are going to configure it by using the message template number 2 and then use the template. And as you can see, the values are automatically populated because we just copied this node from our previous template. And since the variables from template number 2 are the same variables as being used on template number 1, so we can use all of them. So all we have to do now is click confirm template. Now we are going to configure message number 3. So we are going to clone this again and then configure our template 3. So this time, instead of using message 2, we are going to use message 3 and use that template. And since template number 3 is using different variables from our template 2, we're going to inspect if these variables that were automatically populated is still applicable for this template. So for the variable number 1, it is the first name, so that's correct. So just to let you know, we reserve these items for you. Variable number 2 should be the order items. So we are going to copy the order items. And instead of store name, we are going to replace it with order items variable. So the third variable pertains to the total amount of the order. So we are going to move the order amount variable from variable 4 to variable number 3. And let's continue. Let us know if you wish to continue your purchase. Click this link to continue. So variable number 4 is the cart URL. So from variable number 5, let's move the cart URL variable to variable 4. And for the variable 5 and 6, this is the store email and store phone. So move the store email to variable 5 and let's copy the store mobile again and place it on a variable number 6. Okay, so that's good. Now let's configure our template number 4. So let's just clone template number 3 to create template 4. Configure this one, and instead of using message 3, let's use message 4. Okay, now let's check if the variable still holds up. So variable number 1 is still the first name. And for the variable number 2, click this link to continue. So variable number 2 is the cart URL. And for the variable number 3 and 4, that's the store email and store mobile. So let's remove this and place the store email here on variable number 3 and copy the store mobile variable on variable number 4. Okay, that's good. Let's confirm this template. Now for the last variable, let's copy the template number 4. And instead of using message 4, let's use message 5. And let's inspect the variables once again. So the first variable is variable 1. This is the first name. That's correct. And for the variable number 2, that is the cart URL. Still correct. And for the variables 3 and 4, that's the store email and store mobile. So still correct. So we are going to confirm the template. After adding all of the templates and after configuring them, we're going to add a postbacks to these templates. So how are we going to convert all of these templates into a postback? So it's really easy. All you have to do is create a trigger. Now let's connect this trigger to our first message. And as you can see, after connecting, the postback configuration appeared. So once you transform a message node into a postback, it means that this message node can be referenced again. And once this message can be referenced again, we can then use this for our WhatsApp sequences. So let's name this as message 1, and then let's configure our trigger, use keyword, and enter 1 here. Okay, so you can use other keywords. Let's say test 1. So that is my keyword for this. And let's clone this and connect this to our message number 2 to transform this message into a postback, meaning we can reference this message for our chat sequence. Okay, so this is my message 2. And then we are going to configure our keyword trigger to test 2. And then here, let's clone the trigger again and transform this message into a postback. And now let's name this postback into message 3 or 3. And for the keyword, let's use test_3. So duplicate this same process, connect it on our fourth template, configure the keyword test_4, and let's clone this and connect it to our fifth message. Let's name this as message 5 or just 5, and configure our keyword to test_5. Now this is ready. All of our messages have been converted into a postback, and these messages can be referenced from our chat sequence, so we can use this later once we create our chat sequence for WhatsApp. And now let's save our WhatsApp flow. Oops, we have an error here. This is because our reference node is not connected to any of our messages. So what we can do to correct this is simply connect our reference node to our first message. And once we save our flow again, it should be successful. Okay, great. We have successfully saved our flow. Now it's time to create our WhatsApp sequence. So go to WhatsApp and then go to sequences. And now let's create a new sequence. Okay, for the flow, we are going to select our abandoned cart recovery flow demo number 2. And for the timing, let's just use the 1 minute timing for testing purposes. So 1 minute after our customer abandons their order, then we are going to send our sequence number 1 message, which is this message, message number 1. Okay, great. Now let's add another sequence. And 1 minute after that, we are going to send our second message. So same, we are going to use cart recovery flow demo number 2. And for this one, we are going to use message 2. So after 1 minute, we are going to create a new sequence, which is message number 3. And same is true, we are going to use abandon recovery flow demo number 2 and message number 3. And use the same flow again. This time use message number 4. And we are going to use the same flow again, this time message number 5. So great, we have configured our sequence. We have 5 messages. So 1 minute after our customer abandons their order, we will send sequence number 1. And once sequence number 1 message has been sent, we're going to send message number 2. Now 1 minute after sending sequence number 2, we're going to send sequence number 3. And 1 minute after sending sequence number 3, we're going to send sequence number 4. And 1 minute after sending sequence number 4, we're going to send sequence number 5. Now, this is for testing purposes only. And once you use this sequence for production, it's highly suggested that you use a proper time interval between each message. So for example, if you are using it in actual, instead of using 1 minute here, you can use after 3 hours, okay? 3 hours after sending message number 1, we're going to send message number 2. And let's say for sequence number 3, the time interval would be 8 hours. So after 8 hours, we're going to send message 3. And after sending message 3, another 3 hours would pass. We're going to send sequence number 4. And after sending sequence number 4, let's say another 8 hours for the interval between message 4 and message 5. So that is an example of the proper intervals between each message, because it's really not a good user experience if you use 1 minute interval between each message for production. So we are only using 1 minute interval for testing purposes. So once that is configured, we can go to next step and name our chat sequence. So this is our chat sequence name, and let's save our chat sequence. Alright, after saving our chat sequence, we can now use this for our Marketing Master IO's e-commerce store notification. So go to e-commerce and then go to shop notifications. And here, let's choose the correct e-commerce store. So the e-commerce store that I'm going to use is the mock ecom store. And as you can see here, we already have an abandoned template. So let me just delete this. Okay, and then we are going to create a new abandoned cart notification. When you create an abandoned cart notification, always use the abandoned on the event settings. And then let's name this as abandoned cart notif WhatsApp demo. Okay, so this is a demo, and the notification receiver would be customer instead of admin. Next is, for example purposes, we are going to disable other notification mediums such as SMS, email, messenger, and webhooks. We are only going to enable the WhatsApp notification for this example. Okay, now go to WhatsApp tab, and then for the WhatsApp message type, we are going to use WhatsApp sequence. After selecting WhatsApp sequence as our WhatsApp message type, we are going to choose the WhatsApp sequence abandoned cart recovery demo 2 that we have created just recently. So choose this. And then after all of this is configured, we are now finally going to save our notification. So click Save Notification. Great, we have just created our abandoned cart notification for our store. Now we are going to test how this works. So let's go to e-commerce, and then we are going to visit our e-commerce store. Now let's try to do a test purchase, and then we are going to abandon our purchase. So let's say that I am going to order this. So I'm gonna click buy now, and then I'm gonna add all of the details here. So these are my customer details. Okay. So let's say I'm gonna add all of this. Okay, so example, our customer already entered the shipping address, but the customer did not click continue to payment. Okay, the customer abandoned their order. So let's say I'm gonna close this one. Okay, and if we go to our store orders, you would be able to see that we have a new order item here, field delivery info. Now, field delivery info event means that the customer filled up the checkout details but have not completed the checkout process yet. Okay, now let's wait a few minutes, And once this order status becomes abandoned, we would be able to see that this SMS message that the customer entered during the checkout process will receive an abandoned cart notification on their WhatsApp, given that this SMS number is connected to WhatsApp. So the requirement should be the customer needs to enter their SMS number on the checkout page, and that SMS number needs to be connected to their WhatsApp account in order for the WhatsApp notification to work. So now let's wait for a few minutes until the order status becomes abandoned. And once the order status becomes abandoned, our WhatsApp sequences should start sending to this WhatsApp number. Okay, we will be back in a few minutes. Okay, after 15 minutes, the order status became abandoned. Now, once the order status becomes abandoned, the subscriber will be opted in to our WhatsApp sequence. So to check, we can go to WhatsApp and then go to sequences. And if you check the reports for our WhatsApp chat sequence abandoned cart recovery demo 2, click this report button, you'd be able to see that the subscriber has been subscribed to our sequence and all of our 5 messages have been queued for sending. What we have to do now is we're going to wait until we receive the notification message on our WhatsApp account. So let's wait a few minutes until we receive the message. I'm going to show you what we are going to receive. Okay, so after a few minutes, if we check the report again, message number 1 and message number 2 is already sent. So if we go to our WhatsApp, we can see that we have received message number 1 here. So did you forget something? Hi Colin, we are from MMIO Ecom store, and this is the order items. This is the total order, and this is the link, the MMIO recovery link, and this is the recovery link as well. So that is how we can trigger the abandoned cart recovery. And now we have just received message number 3. We received the items for you. So after a few minutes, we are going to receive message number 4 and message number 5. All right, we have finally received all of the 5 abandoned cart recovery messages. And as you can see here, this is the first message that we received. Did you forget something? It was sent on 12:26 p.m. And the second message was received on 12:27, 1 minute apart. And here, 12:28, that's after 1 minute. And finally, and on 12:29, 1 minute after the message number 3, we have message number 4. And finally, on 12:30, 1 minute after the fourth message, we finally received the last message, which is our last offer. Discount coupon expires very soon. So if we go back to our chat sequences, and then let's close this, and then we are going to refresh the reports from our WhatsApp sequences by going back to home and then going back to our WhatsApp sequences again. And if we click the activities here, you can see that all of the messages have been sent. Okay, so that's how it works. The WhatsApp notification would also work if your e-commerce store is connected to your WooCommerce store. For example, this e-commerce store is connected to WooCommerce. So if we go to WooCommerce plugin, the mock ecom store is connected to my WooCommerce here. So if your customers orders on your WooCommerce checkout page, it would work as well. So let's try it out. My e-commerce store is connected via the plugin, okay, the WooCommerce plugin. And if we go to shop, and then on the shop, let's try to buy this one, add to cart. So mind you, this is now on our WooCommerce store, and we are going to try to abandon an order using our WooCommerce checkout page. So now let's go to checkout and add the customer details here. So I'm gonna use the same WhatsApp number. Okay, so this is my phone number that's connected to WhatsApp. Okay, so after adding all the details, we are not going to click the place order. Instead, we are going to close our checkout page, and we are not going to continue with the purchase to simulate the abandoned cart event. So let's close this. And once that's done, if we go to e-commerce and then orders, you'd be able to see that we have a new order here that have a failed delivery info order status. Now, we are going to wait a few minutes until this order status becomes abandoned. This phone number would also receive abandoned cart recovery notifications in WhatsApp, same as the previous abandoned order, which was created on MMIO Ecommerce Store. Note that this order was created on WooCommerce. So let's wait a few minutes. Okay, so after waiting a few minutes, the order status finally became abandoned. And once this is abandoned, our subscriber will be opted into our WhatsApp sequence. So if we go to WhatsApp and then sequences and then click the reports, we now see that another queue was populated here. So message 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are in queue. And if we scroll down, we can see that the previous sequence that was queue is now sent. And the messages that are now in queue was from the abandoned cart event that was created from our WooCommerce store. So let's wait a few minutes again until we receive all of the 5 messages here. Okay, after a few minutes to update, we have received 3 messages. This is the first message, the second message, and the third message. Let's wait 2 more minutes so that we receive all 5 messages. So finally, we have received all 5 messages. So this is how the WhatsApp chat sequence works. It will work if your customer ordered from your WooCommerce store, given that your WooCommerce store is connected to MMIO via the WooCommerce plugin. And it would also work if your customer orders from your MMIO e-commerce store. So just follow along by replaying the video. If there's anything that you want to clarify, just message us. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned how to create abandoned cart notifications in WhatsApp, and you have learned how to create WhatsApp sequences. So stay tuned on our next video.